Good evening. Welcome to Rock, Paper, Hand Grenades. I'm Joshua Solomon. This is my co-host, Gary Hopper. The Honorable Gary Hopper.
Wow.
He doesn't think I'm honorable, so.
No. Wow. I feel a coup in the wind.
A coup?
A coup. You just took over. You just took over the whole freaking show.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, we take turns introing.
Yeah, but this time you called me
Yeah,
and
we're
then you
co-hosts.
right. Then
Neither one of us is above the other.
Yeah, I am. I'm wicked important. You have
I
anything?
think
Gary's the
arm
host
wrestling.
and I'm the sub-host. I'm the
sub-host.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh gosh, I love me. Hey, guess what? Guess Josh.
What?
I hurt his feelings.
You didn't hurt my feelings.
Oh gosh. You have no idea how much I love me.
Wow.
Gary calls out his own name during sex.
Oh, it does. I won't ask how you know that, Matt.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. It's true. I just don't know how we know.
We're devolving very quickly here today, guys.
Perfect. Ratings will go up.
Yep.
Anyway, today our guest is Matt Mayberry, who ran for Congress, and I thought was a great candidate, but the voters had other plans. What have you been doing? Because I know you're still super active. You're still going out there pressing flesh and campaigning for people.
And that's really good.
That is actually very admirable.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly the word I was going to use.
You know, I'm going to use the old John McCain line, like, the night of the election, I slept like a baby. Slept 2 hours, woke up and cried. Slept 2 hours, woke up and cried. And kind of get through it. My therapist was thrilled because they're like, yes, we can go to Mexico on vacation. Mayberry's back. Once I got through all that, I spent time with my friend Jack and my friend Jim, and Bean and Daniels, of course.
Yeah.
But no, what I did was really I did take a couple days for myself.
Yeah.
And it's like bigger picture.
Right.
I believe in God.
Yeah.
God had a plan. And there's that saying that if you want to make God laugh, make a plan.
Yeah.
Or you want to make God smile, make a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
He grimaced when he looked at me. He's like, "Oh, Mayberry."
Well, the thing is, that's not necessarily legitimate. I mean, you're right, but sometimes God encourages you to do something, not necessarily because you're going to win, but because of how you're going to influence people on the way. So God still had you do what He had you do.
Absolutely.
It's just not the result you anticipated,
Yeah,
but it was a result He needed.
absolutely. And if we take the self-deprecating stuff out of it, it was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
I met a lot of people, talked to a lot of folks.
You did this show. I mean, how much better could it get, really?
It was kind of the pinnacle.
Yeah.
So you had me on too early. I peaked too early.
Oh.
It was all downhill from there. Norm had me on, and he kicked the shit out of me all around the studio. So
Right.
it was like,
Yeah.
And,
Kick the heck out of the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get edited on the show, yes. But somewhere, met some great people, helped some folks, made a lot of neat friends, learned a lot.
Yeah.
But
Is that the first time you ran for office, or no?
I was actually on the Dover City Council for 3 terms. Dover
Okay,
School
but
Board for a
that's
term.
all smaller. I mean, local.
This was the first big stuff.
Right.
It was truly a great experience. It was one where talked to a lot of veterans.
Right.
Because I talked about separating from depression. I talked about very openly about considering suicide at one point in time.
Right.
Gentlemen, every time I spoke, someone came up and said, like, thank you. Like, you just kind of made it real.
Yeah, because a lot of people have this pain that's inside them that they never even talk about because the worst part one of the worst parts about pain is when you think you're alone in it.
Yes.
I just thought of that. I get to write that down just a second.
Trademark and copyright.
Things Gary says. It's a new book I'm working on.
It'll be an old show, just like,
There's a very small chapter of things that are very insightful, and then the rest of the book is just gonna be.
No, they're blank pages. Blank pages, because it's like, create your own. It's thinking with Gary.
Thinking with Gary, yeah.
You lie down, put the book on your face, and
Right.
let Gary's thoughts come into your brain. And but I jumped in. But I jumped in, helped the state senators
Yeah.
because we're 3 seats away from taking the majority.
Yeah.
Chris Sununu's got to have an additional firewall.
Oh yeah,
We're
we
really-
were barely holding on. We had so many gun laws
Yes.
that they tried to pass this year, and all we needed is for a few Republicans to catch the coronavirus and be down for the count. We would have been out.
Well,
You would have had red flag laws and everything else.
and don't forget that, when Governor Sununu or the governor leaves the state, even to go to, Kittery, Maine, the Senate president becomes governor.
Yeah.
So, if anything should happen to Chris Sununu, Donna Susie would take over, and here come the bills. Here comes the red flag bills.
Here comes an executive order.
Here comes an executive order. But it didn't happen. We're 3 seats away, so I'm spending a lot of time with the state senators.
Yeah.
Just before coming here, I was in Raymond, talking with and doing some sign waves with some state rep candidates,
Yeah.
doing a lot of door-to-door, because I know how hard they're working. And I know those votes count.
Yep.
And I know what they're going through. And if I can help them, that's great. I have nothing else. I'm cheap labor. I work pretty free, so
You do.
I do.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's pretty free? What's
Yeah,
free
define-
versus pretty free?
Well, pretty free is you got
partially free.
pretty free is you got to have some snacks. I mean,
Oh, okay.
We had
I-
Saturday.
okay.
Saturday at 10 o'clock in the center of Ware at the gazebo. Republicans are going to have a thing where we're going to talk, so you can show up for that. There's going to be snacks.
snacks is a good thing.
Snacks is a great
Snacks is
thing.
a good thing. But at 10 o'clock, I will be with.
Says the 3 fat guys on TV.
hey.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, that's discriminatory. We're not fat. We're fluffy.
I self-identify as buoyant.
Buoyant. Okay.
Buoyant.
So we have fat, buoyant, and fluffy. Great.
Right.
And I'm going to be with Denise Ricciardi. We're going to start our day at the Bedford Transfer Station.
Yeah.
Say hi to folks, because she's going to take that seat from Deitch.
Okay. So what is that, Senate seat?
It's a state Senate seat.
Okay.
It's Bedford out towards Peterborough and Jaffrey
Okay.
and Richmond, that area. 14 towns. She is working her tail off. She's a top vote getter in Bedford,
Right.
and she just keeps going. She broke her arm Tuesday night. She called me and brought to the hospital, and at 8 o'clock the next morning I picked her up and she was back working.
Wow.
like-
How'd you break her?
She tripped in her own house.
Oh.
And I wish a good story like, clubbing a protest or something like that, but no.
No. Why don't you make one up? I mean, it is election season, so.
This is true. Because that's what the Democrats are doing.
No,
Like-
nobody makes stories up when they're running for office.
No,
And
yes,
parties,
I do.
Parties
so,
only tell the truth, and
Yeah.
yep, and that's it. So, but helping some state reps, and we're going to put New Hampshire back in the red column.
Yeah, I think so.
Trump is going to win. Mars is going to win. Messner's going to win. We're going to take back the state Senate, the executive council.
I firmly hope,
Yeah.
and I'm optimistic,
Are you going to be a Debbie Downer right
and
now?
I have
'Cause-
faith. I gotta tell you guys, I've got my hopes up in the past.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's one of these things where, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to have everybody out there do their part by or at least I'm going to encourage them to. But I'm preparing myself for a heartache. And that heartache isn't necessarily going to be a loss on November 3rd. That heartache is going to be the crap storm that follows with the legal suits.
Yeah, there's
and
lawyers lined up for miles right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't declare victory because we haven't counted these phony votes that didn't show up in the mail yet.
Yeah.
That's the part that I'm going to be a Debbie Downer about.
But I do
I
think
feel like that's going to happen, and it's going to drive me up the wall.
But Josh, I do think in New Hampshire that we do elections right.
I-
We don't
I-
mess them up. So I think New Hampshire will be decided that night.
I don't think so.
I believe you there. I mean, we've had the Secretary of State on this show, right? And there's no secret. He's on the other side of the political fences.
He's a good man. Does a good
than
job.
us, but he does a very good job of making sure our elections are fair.
Yeah, we don't have any hanging chads.
Right.
No.
So I don't necessarily have a bad feeling about what's going to happen in New Hampshire.
But nationally, I agree. It's going to be a mess.
It is. Well, it depends. If he wins so handily, there's Severin. What was Jay Severin? I used to listen to Jay Severin, and he was really into the campaigns. He was a campaign advisor and talk show host, and he said, and this is back 20 years ago, said that for a Republican to win, they always know that they have to go at least plus 5% just to get through the voter fraud.
Absolutely.
Right, which the viewers probably don't hear that on the news because they're not going to tell you. But there's so much voter fraud, they have to get plus 5%. I am getting a feeling, just the way things are, people are reacting, that it's going to be way above that. Yep. I think he's going to probably top about 10 or 15%. It's going to be a blowout.
Same as in the Republican primary, he wasn't supposed to win that. Same in 2016, the general
election.
election.
Yeah, but 2016 was different. You had morons like me who liked what Trump said, but didn't actually believe he was going to follow through. Because I knew anybody with that kind of money can do a poll and find out, well, if you say this, 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 and this, you will get a lot of broad support from Republicans. Simple, right? And that's what he did. But what I didn't know is he actually meant to follow through. And he has.
He has.
I mean, look at immigration.
Like the sign says, promises made, promises kept.
I know. It's like the first time in history. I've never seen that happen. I mean, you look at the hurdles he had to do anything about immigration. Every presidential candidate that I can remember always promised to do something about illegal immigration. Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, all of them said we have to stop illegal immigration, and they were going to do something. None of them did anything about it because there's too much money on both sides of the coin for it. It's Washington, D.C. gets rich off of conflict.
Yes,
and as long as there's conflict, they get money.
Correct.
Trump is the first one to actually get in there and start doing something about illegal immigration. And if you remember back a couple of years ago, the way the opposition, the Democrats, dealt with that, and big league Democrat donors, they started financing caravans to come up through Honduras and up through Mexico into the United States to overwhelm the immigration system. And every time Trump tried something new, they would file a lawsuit. It was a relentless attack to allow the continuation of open borders. And Democrats in Washington, D.C. and Republicans alike were fighting him all the way. And he still did it. Yep. I mean, if right now I think we have the best immigration policy and results that we've had, I don't know, probably for 80 years?
We at least have a policy now.
That long, but I mean, at least 40 years.
At least 40 years.
Since the beginning of the Reagan years. And probably before that.
So he actually followed through. Yeah. He also said when he ran for office that he did not want to be involved in relentless wars.
Correct.
Right?
And just today I read a story he's looking to pull out of Somalia. We have about 600 folks in Somalia, and he's
Black
made
Hawk Down.
He's made his intentions to get out of Somalia and stop being the prop in that country, and because our 600 guys or so guys that are there to train the local forces to keep control, and he's sent his intention to pull out of Somalia as well, right? I mean, it's always about downsizing and pulling out, and he's doing it even without informing the top commanders first, right? Some of them are acting surprised about this move, but like you said, it's continual. He's done this in every theater where we have folks.
If you look at under President Trump, and I've checked this a little bit, but I haven't done a deep dive into it. But I am willing to bet. I'm willing to bet $10 right now to anybody. I'm willing to bet that there are fewer American soldiers have died under the Trump presidency than any other presidency back to the Civil War. Right? I bet that's the case.
Sounds right.
Because he is not a warmonger. He is the first president they hadn't had, the first real peace treaty was with Egypt under President Jimmy Carter, and that was 50 years ago or so. The more recent one was 25 years ago between Jordan and Israel. Trump has had 2 peace treaties with 2 separate Middle East countries.
3 signatories.
3 signatories,
one of those
and
yep.
Bosnia and what's the other the conflict in Bosnia? He ended up with a peace treaty there too. The guy is like, and he would have had a peace treaty with North Korea.
Yes.
He would have had it. He was on the verge of having it, and then the Democrats, those cotton-picking, treasonous SOBs, were gave the impression to North Korea that Trump was going to be impeached at any second, because while he was talking to
right.
Little Kim, those jerks had that turncoat lawyer that used to work for Trump on the stand in Congress, and he's just spewing lies about Trump constantly. They were deliberately undermining. The Democrats were deliberately undermining a peace treaty with North Korea. They're treasonous.
And let's
Is that
not
too
forget.
strong a word, or is it pretty close?
No, it's fine.
Sorry. A little.
We're not
Clearly,
gonna censor
clearly,
you
you have
for
no
it.
opinion on that.
Oh yeah, I know. Clear.
But it's not lost to me that remember when they gave President Obama the Nobel Peace Prize, and he hadn't even taken office yet.
He hadn't done anything.
Hadn't done anything yet. Just being elected,
It was just so
But yet,
beautiful. He's so pretty. His pants were creased well, and
and President Trump, de-escalates. He
Well, as
does-
Biden would say, he was what was he? The first mainstream.
well dressed, and
He said, what did he say? He said,
more
clean-
painful words.
yeah. Call him first mainstream, clean African American, something.
Like Mr. Biden, just stop
Yeah.
speaking, please. And
sorry.
but speaking of well dressed and groomed and pants creased, my fear is that should Mr. Biden win, Josh and I were talking about in the green room, that Beto O'Rourke will be in charge of the ATF.
Wow.
That's me guessing,
That's probably a real fair guess.
and just
It is.
find a way to shut it down.
Yeah.
And it's and ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing it play out on your TV screens right now. Amy Coney Barrett, very well qualified to be an associate justice on the Supreme Court.
She's wicked smart.
She is wicked smart.
Wicked smart. She's smarter than me.
And that's
Little
saying
bit.
that's saying something.
Yeah, I know, right?
That is saying something.
I know.
You do have that Chief Justice look to you.
I
though.
know that. I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So next show, I need you to come in a black robe and just be like,
Right. Yeah, I probably should. That would. Yeah.
dude, you know what you could do?
What?
Flip this around and just do like Gary's Court.
Gary's. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You sit there in a robe.
Well, I'm honorable, so therefore I should be able to do
But
that.
Josh is distinguished, though.
Yeah.
I am?
I think you are.
Wow.
You need a title,
I'm
dude.
distinguished.
You gotta have a title.
I know we do got to give him a title.
He really does.
I know.
As a sub co-host, he doesn't need a title. He's a sub co-host,
Apparently that's
or
what
the
I
host
am.
of subs, and he has to bring in like more Subway every.
That sounds fair too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
It could be a rotating. Each week bringing a different sub to sample on the air. And but anyway, moving right along. Look!
Yeah, let's
Oh,
keep
look!
that
Squirrel.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the Democrats are playing their hand out for the public 20 days before the election. Kamala Harris and Sheldon Whitehouse and all these people just screaming about, the ACA and the repealing of the Health Care Act has nothing to do with whether a justice is qualified to serve our country or not.
Absolutely nothing.
They said they don't want politics in it. They're the ones injecting it.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
And that's
one
wrong.
of the big things is they can get a lot of media traction discussing the
course.
the ACA, Obamacare,
Yeah.
right before the election, right? And
But those voters are already going to vote for Mr. Biden.
exactly.
They're not
But
converting a Republican.
But they think they are. They're in their little bubble, and they think that they're getting through to people. They think that Trump supporters and conservatives around the country are ignorant. They think that they don't do their own research. They think that they don't think for themselves. And they believe that if they continue to say the lie over and over again, that folks will start to believe it, and then the lie will become the truth. And,
Well, if you look at the vice presidential debate, I lost track of how many times, but Kamala Harris lied like 5 times anyway. You know, she said that they're not going to get rid of fracking. She's on record of saying they were going to get rid of fracking. Joe Biden's on record of saying they were going to get rid of fracking. But when it comes to the debate, oh no, we never said that.
And Gary, she wouldn't answer the question when the vice president answered Senator, will you pack the court?
Explain to the viewers because right now the
course.
Democrats are saying Republicans are packing the court now. They're trying to confuse the issue, so most voters don't really even understand what packing the court is.
Absolutely. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said herself that a president is a president for 4 years, not 3 years, 6 months. She did not. That's what she said. My clarification: they're not a president for 3 years, 6 months, and they stop and they become a lame duck.
Right.
There until the election. Packing a court is right now with the Supreme Court justices. There's a consistent rumor going around that the Democrats will change the structure of the court to add 3 additional justices.
they want 13. You can't make it an even number. It
Okay,
has
sorry.
to be an odd number.
So before that, a President Biden could appoint.
Right.
Talk about power. And what the Democrats and the Republicans are packing the court. We're the ones who've been in charge. We're the ones who, no one has gone out and killed Supreme Court justices to create an opening.
Right. They passed away. We filled seats.
Correct. President Obama, when he left 167 federal judgeships open. He didn't fill.
He refused. Yeah, I don't understand that.
He could have filled all of them.
Oh, and
he chose not to. So that's why President Trump has done 300. And I saw the Democrats carping about, he's got 300 judges. Dude, because you left half of them open.
Right, right.
Mr. Obama chose not to do this. President Trump is within his constitutional rights and duties to fill that vacancy.
Yeah, I think it's important to understand too what the because that's the Democrats look at. Will the ends justify the means, and the short-term gain is the only thing they consider. So let's follow their logic outward. So let's say Joe Biden and Kamala Harris win November 3rd, and they take the Senate.
Yep.
So, and they have the House. So they decide to increase the number of justices from 9 to 13.
And it's a simple majority. 50,
so now they've got their Democrat majority, so that they can get gun control, things like that through without worrying about it. So then, what does that mean? That means as soon as Republicans take over again, after the insanity of the Democrats, do they put, how many would they have to put in? An additional 8?
Or another 4.
Another 4. Okay, yeah. So now what do you get? 17? Now it's been stuck at 9 for 150 years.
Yes.
So making a drastic change to adding 4 more is pretty profound and it's not unconstitutional, but adjusting the court to get a political outcome, I think, is basically contrary to what the Supreme Court is supposed to be.
And let's pull that down from the Supreme Court just for a minute. And they decide they're going to take these federal judgeships, the districts, and divide them up even more.
Right.
So you get even more federal judges. You go into, say, Kansas, a conservative place. Say they may have 2 judges in 2 different districts. The Democrats might say, you know what, we're going to divide that into now 4 districts, and we're going to appoint 2 more liberal judges. So it's the down court, the appellate courts, that they could really mess with also. We have a similar challenge, and I'm not jumping too much, but in New Hampshire, we have a redistricting this year.
Right.
Coming up. The next legislature will decide who your state reps are, your state senators, your congressional districts. Change of a couple towns can change a whole lot.
Yep.
In this. Because we've got, College Corridor, where I live, goes Durham and Dover, with home to UNH, up to Concord, over to Keene State.
Yeah.
For the executive council. If the legislature says, you know what, we're going to make this a little more democratic, and we're going to move Keene over here, and we're going to move a conservative part over here and play the numbers, they could change this thing for 10 years.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So the Democrats want to do it in Washington, and the Democrats want to do it right here in New Hampshire. So if someone's thinking, I don't need to vote, your vote on November 3rd has a 10-year impact.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Literally.
yeah, yeah. It is. It is. And that's actually one of the more disheartening things to me is that we have gotten to a point where the system is so fragile that everything could change on November 3rd permanently.
Yes.
Because if you look at the national level, if they win the Senate and the House and the presidency, they can pack the court so that when us three are both pro-gun people, you might as well hide your guns and put them in Cosmoline and bury them in the ground because they're going to come after them.
Correct.
And there will be nothing legally you can do anymore. Then they will also try to add D.C. and Puerto Rico as additional states, so they'll end up with eight more delegates to the Democrats to the delegation, which would completely change the balance so that
It'd be 4 more Democratic states, U.S. senators.
be 4 more U.S. senators and 4 more, probably maybe even more than that, congressmen. Congress people.
Well, I don't know if they would add Congress.
Of course they would, yeah.
Well,
If it's
have
a
to.
state.
No, but the way this worked was originally the Constitution was drafted so that you have 2 senators from every state,
Yeah.
right, and that balances against the House of Representatives, which is representative by population.
Correct.
And so as the country's population grew, so did the size of the House of Representatives.
To a point.
Until they decided to cap it at 435.
Right.
And with redistricting, that 435 is
I see.
is spread out over the entire country. So if you add 2 more states, that 435
It's constant.
gets it's constant unless there's another constitutional amendment to change that. But yes, it did theoretically it would grow based on population. But because we put a stop
that's
at
a good point.
435,
But it would mean that
But then they take it to the Democrat-controlled supermajority Supreme Court now
right,
to get thrown out to add those
Right.
4 more members of Congress.
or it would just mean
Or take
a
away from Texas.
fewer Republican congressional districts.
right. You take some Republican districts out of Texas and Florida, and you give them to Puerto Rico, and
In
so-
Washington, D.C.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so, but I think the more that we're all 3 of us are saying, go out and vote November 3rd.
Oh,
Don't sit. It's so easy. People like me, I raised, $250,000. That's a lot of work.
that is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Can I be your friend?
Well, I very successfully lost.
Right.
So, it's like, but,
a
it's
successful failure.
a successful failure, but it's one. But I say that because a lot of people put a lot of time and money and investments into this, and to have folks stay at home and just say, that's not my problem, it's not my deal, then it's not. Take the ballot, turn it over, because the county races are on the backside.
Right.
So that's your county prosecutor, your county sheriff, I'm sure deeds and probate, county
State
commissioners.
rep. You got to vote for state rep too.
Yeah.
We're
Luckily
wicked,
that's on
we're
the
wicked
front side.
important. We're wicked important.
You're distinguished and honorable.
Yeah, I know. Wicked.
Oh, he gets 2 titles? Oh,
I know.
I know.
Hey,
He's
it's
got
tough.
the pin. He's got the pin.
I know. I do. I got actually a lot of those.
I bet.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the State House?
8.5 terms.
Wow. You started when you were 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I was 10 years old.
What committees do you think you'd serve on?
So far, when I first was up there, I was on Fish and Game because I was still working full time.
Yep.
And then when I got kicked out of work because of my eyes, I moved over to Judiciary.
Yep.
So now I'm still on Judiciary.
Good. Would that change in the next session, or is it?
It can if I wanted to,
Okay.
but I'd kind of like to try criminal justice because that'd be fun. But the thing is, I try to go where I'm going to be of most service, and judiciary is the one where you get the right to know. You get pro-life bills. You get bills, for instance, to give you an idea of some of the garbage we have to put up with up there. And I forget his name. There's a husband and wife Democrats that from Manchester, and he introduced legislation and went to my committee to repeal. And I think I was either a co-sponsor of it, but I was definitely participated in a bill quite a few years ago to give firearm manufacturers and gun shops and people who sold ammunition protection against frivolous lawsuits.
Yes.
The reason was, around the country, what people were doing was to subvert, they're finding any way they can to subvert the Second Amendment. And the way they were doing it around the country is they would have, say, Riley's. They're out of business, so I can use them. But say somebody went to Riley's and bought a handgun, and 6 months later they shot their neighbor with it. The neighbor's family would sue Riley's for selling the gun. It would be a lot like buying a Toyota over at, the whatever, the Toyota place, running somebody over, and then suing the Toyota company for selling the car to the guy who ran your friend over.
Exactly, because they should have known better.
They should have known better. So the whole purpose of this bill originally was to protect them against frivolous lawsuits. So you didn't put gun manufacturers or gun shops out of business just from frivolous lawsuits. So the gentleman from Manchester, the Democrat, had a bill to repeal that. And it's just bizarre because they come up into committee and say, oh, no, we're not trying to put gun manufacturers out of business. We're just trying to make it fair.
Of course.
And it's such a lie.
Yeah.
It is, and you can't say that in committee. You have to be respectful.
They love those words.
They love that.
Feelings,
feelings,
fairness,
feelings.
Distribution of wealth.
Nothing more than feelings.
Because the new word is, they don't use the word taxes anymore. They use the word fees and levies and apportionment of revenue.
Apportionment of revenue. That is a good one.
I heard it was a state legislature in Florida. They're enacting an income tax. Well, Florida doesn't have income tax, just like us. They have sales tax, but they don't have, right? So, but they're similar to us in there's no income tax. Well, they wanted to pass a health care. Was it health care or was it paternity? And one of the Democrat lawmakers got up there and says, I want to dispel some myths here.
That's New Hampshire.
No. Are you sure?
I am positive. I sat there and watched the guy say it.
Was that New Hampshire?
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to. It's not an income tax. It's a fee on your wages.
Yes.
It's a fee?
What?
With a straight face. He said it with a straight face.
And no one corrected him.
Well, they can't. You can't correct somebody when they're up at the podium.
If I'm elected, I'm going to be doing that.
Well,
you may throw me out, but
they'll probably throw you out.
I think you should be appointed. You shouldn't be elected. You should just be like, Josh, fill a seat.
Yeah, exactly. Like a
it's
night.
A fee on your wages. Well, what are wages?
Huh? I don't know.
What are they? Are they income?
And the best thing I heard is that Chris Nunes out there talking about
the game of words that they play with every subject. It's a word game, right? They're hoping that the American people don't understand English. That's what it is.
Well, that's why they'll say we've had mail-in ballots forever. Well, no, we haven't. We've had absentee ballots forever,
right.
which is entirely different than mail-in ballots.
And we all support absentee ballots.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. But they don't talk about pedophiles. They call them minor attracted people.
Yeah, no.
Because they're attracted to minors.
I call them dead.
Right. But that's what it is. They change the language to make it less offensive, hoping that you won't see through that crap.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. Back to,
Were we still talking about something?
No, I think
you said back to, so I assume that meant we went off subject again
I think it was just your infinite wisdom that's coming forward.
Yes, I have a lot of that.
But it was coming back to, the Tower of Gary. that, about
Towel of Gary.
feelings and emotions. Like, just go. I like how Chris Sununu is out there talking about reducing rooms and meals taxes
Right.
already. Like, we're actually going to cut the taxes because we've got to grow this economy.
Yeah.
The three of us and the folks who are watching you right now, they know if you increase taxes, you just increase unproductivity.
Well, right now is
Right. Well,
you
every
have
time
people.
you do that. You employ a new government entity to deal with collecting those taxes.
Correct.
Well, the other thing too is right now, we all do surveys. I think I did a Concord Monitor survey for state rep, and they said, "What are you going to do?" And they said, "Well, but what do you think? How is New Hampshire going to fill its shortfall?" And I said, "Well, the one thing we
Get back
don't
to
want to
work.
do, get back to work. But one thing we don't want to do is pass that shortfall on to the people that are hurting the most, which are the citizens of New Hampshire.
Correct.
You can't do that. You tighten your belt. You do whatever you can not to pass that shortfall on to the people that are just barely holding on."
And actually, I'm working with a few folks on the side to bring craft legislation for submittal and consideration that would reduce fees that restaurants and bars have to pay for their entertainers, and how to offset it. Because I have some friends who are solo performers, and so I've been living in the space for a little bit of how much bars and restaurants like having live music, because people come to stay, they hang out, and they spend more money, but they pay exorbitant fees.
Really?
Yeah, I've just learned this this week.
Because I'm a waiting room entertainer at one of the local dentists.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do you do your mime act?
I do the mime. I tell jokes, sing songs, stuff like that.
So the pain is already tripled. So
no, it's just no.
So by the time they
that's
get in
not-
the dentist chair, they're like, "Please bring it on."
exactly. no, just
Anything's better than being in that waiting room.
They're doing like
That's
bad.
not
You're
nice.
doing doing bad card tricks. Like, pick one. No, you pick the other one. You pick the wrong one. It's an ace of spade.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
but see, you
I am not
like,
right in the head. I got to tell you. Go ahead.
You don't have to tell me.
Oh, I don't.
I know 100,000 people each week's like, Gary's slipping just a little bit.
He's going over the edge this week.
Exactly.
He's still less senile than Joseph Biden. Though.
Well, there you go.
You're in public. You should be in a room all by yourself with just a camera with a mask on.
Right.
Oh, so I've been doing these sine waves.
Yeah.
You guys like this. I've been doing a lot of sine waves all around the state, helping out these folks. And I like them because you get to see people and talk to them. You can always find the Democrats because they're in the vehicle, windows rolled up, all by themselves with a mask on.
Well, yeah.
And they look straight ahead and both hands on the steering wheel. Here comes Gary.
It's all about safety, Matt.
I know, but here comes Gary, cigar hanging out of the truck, 2 fingers kind of on, because he's got his coffee cup in the other one, like, I can steer with this. You can't have a mask on because that would mess
How
up the
can you
cigar.
smoke a cigar with a mask
You
on?
can't.
Right. That's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, so when we do that, we can always tell the Democrats.
Oh, yeah. They were angry, too. Gosh.
Burning down Trump signs.
Yeah.
The great part.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt you, but
You go ahead.
love that Republicans are putting game cameras on their Trump signs. So they're taking all these pictures of people, stealing their signs.
I've
So
seen
of
some good
course, I heard it. I think yesterday morning that the game cameras, because only Republicans know what a game camera would be anyway.
Right.
I mean, we're going to play like checkers, and you're going to take a picture of it. That'd be great. But so they take the game cameras. A Democrat said to a friend, "It's an invasion of my privacy. I did not give you permission to take my picture." Stealing the sign from your private property.
Right.
And so I'm hearing all these great things that people are putting, like slime and
We gotta play my video
Yeah,
next
well,
next week. We gotta play
It's
it.
getting bad. I seen one game camera.
Yep.
The guy's he's in the kitchen with his friends, right? And one of his friends says, "Hey, somebody's out there. They're peeing on your sign."
Oh.
Right? And they all turn and they look, and they're all in the kitchen, and they're watching on the game camera. Somebody's outside peeing on the Trump sign. So he walks over and he flips this switch. He electrified the Trump sign.
Nice. Gary would call that a Tuesday night. Like, yeah. A little electroshock therapy.
Yeah, it's probably good for him.
That's some good stuff.
So next week you got to remind me. I'll
find the video.
I got a video. So 4 years ago, people were stealing signs all the time. So I made a contraption so that when you grab the sign, firecrackers blow up.
How to booby trap your Trump sign.
All right. And I did a video. I didn't set it up because things are so dry.
Yeah.
I didn't want to Gary Hopper lights Forest on fire,
Lights
just
New
before
Hampshire
the
on
election.
fire.
Yeah. So so I didn't actually do it. I just made it work, and I put it on YouTube, and CNN used it. CNN did a whole segment on people protecting their Trump signs, and they included mine. It's got over 1 million people know I'm crazy.
Wow.
That's
Over
pretty
1 million?
great. Over 1 million.
That's all?
I'm pretty sure it's a much larger number than that, Gary.
But I mean, but people are getting creative. Those the tape they use for carpet. They put it on their Trump signs, so when you go to grab it, you get the nails.
Oh yeah,
People
yeah.
putting Gorilla Glue around it.
I see one, and it was pretty bad. The guy's he's going to court over it, but he had razor blades on the sign. Somebody went up and grabbed it.
Oh no, you can't do that. Yeah. If you're out there, don't do stuff
don't
like
do
that where you can actually hurt
booby
people.
trap it, but make it fun.
Yeah, make it wicked fun.
Not bloody.
You were going to burn down the friggin' forest 30 seconds ago.
Oh yeah.
If you're on my property,
Fireworks are fun. We're in New Hampshire,
we're
darn
in New
it.
Hampshire. For Christ's sake.
if you're on my
I didn't have a flamethrower. It was just fireworks.
But if you're on my property,
Well,
taking
exactly.
my
You
sign-
still can't have razor blades. You can't impale somebody.
impale him. Vlad the Impaler. Shoot! The guillotine descends over the $3 Trump sign.
Right.
But I do like the game cameras.
Yeah.
But it made me smile when someone had said, "You're invading my privacy, and I did not give you permission to take my picture."
Oh, that's sad. Yeah.
It's
Hey, after we leave, I'll tell you a secret about the game cameras. I'm not going to say it on the air. Hey, you had something you wanted to.
I get excited about things,
You?
and today there was lots of wonderful news to get excited about.
Okay, go.
In April of 2019, a man by the name of Robert Hunter Biden
Robbie
took
Biden.
his laptop to the Apple Store because it had crashed, and he wanted the Apple Store employee to recover the contents of his hard drive.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, the Apple Store employee did exactly that. He recovered all the contents of the hard drive, and in the process of recovering it, noticed a whole bunch of evidence of criminal activity.
No.
Yeah. So that hard drive was turned over to the FBI, and luckily to Rudy Giuliani's lawyer.
Huh.
And
So
we
the guy didn't trust the FBI?
Absolutely not.
Good move.
So now
Good
we have the
move.
contents of this hard drive with emails and photographs.
Photographs.
And of course, the Biden campaign says that it's all phony. It didn't happen. We have no comment. It's all made up. But we have photographs. So on the hard drive, there's a photograph of Hunter Biden smoking a crack pipe. Do we have that
Nice.
picture? Let's take a look. Hunter Biden passed out smoking a crack pipe.
Nice.
Well, that's what. There he is. There's that crack pipe in his mouth. Right, passed out. So these are the photograph. The other photograph was him shirtless, and apparently there's some more lewd photographs of him in the middle of doing things with other people.
Nice.
But if the hard drive story is fake, then those pictures have to be fake too, right?
Right.
But there's more. There's actually a photograph
Of?
of the quote that the Apple Store gave Hunter Biden. And here it is. Look at that. There's Hunter Biden's signature asking for the contents of his hard drive to be recovered.
Wow.
So he
Huh.
did ask for a MacBook Pro, and when it was turned over to the FBI demanded that it show up at a grand jury, and we have the grand jury subpoena too. We have a 2-page grand jury subpoena dated December 9th of 2019,
So they've had it for over a year.
which means they had this hard drive and the evidence on it, the emails on it, during the impeachment trial
Yep.
where President Trump was being impeached over his phone call with
Ukraine.
the Ukraine. The emails on this drive are, there's one email where Devin Archer asks Hunter Biden to use his influence to introduce him to folks in the United States to get rid of the prosecutor in the Ukraine.
Wow.
Huh.
But of course, Joe Biden says that he never, ever met these people, except that he's mentioned in these emails. There's another email 6 months later.
Wow.
It says, "Hey, Hunter, thanks for introducing me to the vice president. I really enjoyed the time he spent with us." But of course, Joe Biden never spent any time with any
No,
members
he wouldn't do
of
that.
the board of
No,
directors
he
of
did-
Burisma.
Yeah, you can trust
Right.
old Joe.
So the pictures may be real, the subpoena may be real, the order to have the hard drive recovered may be real, but now we have to magically think that the emails are fake,
Right.
right? Everything else about that hard drive is the unique and it's the real thing.
Except
But
those.
the emails are fake.
Yeah.
And that's what you're going to be told. That's what everybody's going to be told. These emails are fake.
Well, the other thing that I don't know if you're aware of this story. So Google and Faceplant are both in the tank for Biden, or at least opposed to Trump.
No.
So
Malarkey.
So when I reposted the story Josh is talking about, you probably won't see it, because what they do is Facebook is doing a few things. One of them is shadow banning, which means I post it, I'll see it,
But no one
almost
else will.
almost nobody else will.
I won't see it, even though I'm your friend,
Right.
because Facebook is suppressing it.
They're suppressing information as best they can. And I'm sure that if you do the Google searches and stuff like that, it's not going to come up as readily. And
Well, it also shows drug paraphernalia, so you can't have that on Facebook.
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
did you put that on Facebook? I hope you get arrested.
Oh, I probably will.
Yeah.
I want somebody.
does that mean I
I
can be
want
the new
somebody
sub?
to take me to court and claim that it's not real. I want to fight this. I want somebody to challenge me.
Right.
Fact check this.
Wait.
This
he's
could
he's
be
just about to vie for your job. Go for it.
exactly. So this could be like a new coup. Does that mean I could be like the sub host?
Yes.
If Josh gets arrested?
Yes, absolutely.
Outstanding.
So if you have
Just
connections
because
to
I
have
get
Josh
arrested, you're going to
arrested,
kick me off the show?
I wouldn't do
can't
that.
come
I would
back?
never kick you off if you
He'll
get
just
arrested,
fire you.
though.
You put me over there in the corner for a few episodes. That's my punishment.
It's
Yeah.
Jewel and Josh. Look. So we come over, Jewel and Josh.
Oh gosh, yeah, it is absolutely insane what's going on. I just the discouraging thing I heard this week is I forget what the number is, but I think it's only really about 15% of the population actually pays attention to politics, and that means that who's going to be president, the next president of the United States, is going to be decided by people who are deciding in basically the last minute, who really don't look into it that much, and and maybe the only information they have is from CNN or MSNBC. And if that's where they got their information, Biden wins, because they're lying constantly. The media is so perverse. They're not even coming close to reporting the news anymore. They're just trying to they have an agenda, and that's all they're pushing.
But that's why we have to work harder
Yeah.
and smarter. That's why the Trump organization's gone out to hundreds of thousands of doors in New Hampshire.
Right.
We have volunteers out there knocking on doors every single day to get that message out, to put a face with it. You know, I think we all can agree that we've got some good, honorable people running for office here in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And encourage, those folks, open the door, ask the questions, participate, because it's their taxes, it's their livelihood, it's their jobs, it's their education. Like if moms and dads watching at home right now, if they care about education at all, they should be paying attention who's running for state rep,
Right.
who's running for state senate, who's running for governor. It makes a difference.
Oh, it sure does.
If you don't like how it's being done, fix it. Don't complain about it. Get in there, fix it, and
Yeah.
ideally run for office yourself.
Oh yeah, I actually I know that I've had friends that are pretty liberal, and they won't ask me how to run for office. I'll tell them.
Yeah.
I think people should get involved. The more
Yes.
people that are involved and understand what's going on, the more Republicans will have.
Yeah.
Really, I mean,
Oh,
if because I said that on Norm's show because I can't, so I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but it is so important for people to understand what the issues are. Because did I already mention what's his name? Did I already mention Tom Rath?
Yes.
Okay, so
Well, off air you did.
off air. So Tom Rath, Republican, long-term Republican, just switched horses because he doesn't think Trump represents the better nature of he doesn't like his attitude or whatever, which is an absolutely ridiculous thing. Because if you really look at it, if you look at policy, do you believe in only legal immigration? Well, you got to vote for Trump. Do you believe in that you have a natural right to own a firearm, protect your family? If you do, you have to vote for Trump. If you believe in smaller government and less taxes, well, then you would have to vote for Trump. And it goes down the list. You look at the policies that the Republicans have and the Democrats have, and for instance, both vice president and president on the Democrat side both believe in allowing a child to be killed moments before birth. If you believe in that, then vote for Biden and Harris. If you think that's wrong, then you vote for Trump. Your vote should be based on the policies of the policies of the party that aligns with what you believe in, what you hold dear to your heart. Not the personalities are irrelevant. Give you quick. We only got a couple seconds, but to give you a quick example, lawyers today are not taught only to argue facts in a courtroom anymore. They're taught to appeal to the emotions of the jurors, and some of them go through acting classes to become a lawyer. So when you look at somebody like a Harris or an Biden, probably have gone through acting classes so that they can give the impression that they're either kind or intelligent or whatever it is to project themselves in a certain manner to appeal to voters. So when you see them on TV, ignore what their personality, because that could all be fabricated. Look at what they believe in, what they're going to fight for. It's really the only thing that counts in the next election. Are we going to end up being a socialist country, or are we going to stay a constitutional republic? It's that serious.
And the Tower of Gary is available at all fine gun stores, in paperback and hardcover bookstores near you.
Are you telling me that beautiful, nice personality that Hillary Clinton projects is not real?
Gosh, I hope that one isn't real. That's horrible. Even the nice one, she's like, I don't know. That's
She's
probably
not
what.
that nice person?
Hey, anyway, I
Yeah.
think we got it. Matt, thank you very much. It's awesome.
Thank you.
You're a great guy.
Nice
you,
to see you
Josh.
again, Matt.
Thanks for the invitation back, and I'll come back on where I land somewhere and do some good to help some folks. And
Hey, when are the gun shows starting again? That's the only thing I care about.
That's a much longer conversation,
Much
Gary.
long-
Matt, we'll come
in the
up. We'll
30
hit
seconds,
you
we
up
do
next
not
time.
have that.
Oh, okay.
We want them; they don't want us.
Okay, I
And on
guess
that
All
note,
right.
on that note. Hey, we'll see you guys next week.